Good morning, Giants. Have you ever wondered what groupthink is and how it impacts your life? Have you ever wondered how to change it? Stay tuned because we're going to talk about it in this video. And make sure you hit that subscribe button before we go too far. We're going to be talking about it right now. What is groupthink, Giants? We're going to be talking about that in today's video. And so, Ryan, I want to ask you, what do you think groupthink means?
So I've thought about this before. We've talked about it a little bit in the past in some of our videos about how some organizations will have everybody will say yes to a certain topic. They'll be thinking about or a challenge. They'll be talking about what they want to accomplish, and everybody will agree. So nobody disagrees. So then they end up not thinking through all of the potential problems or things that could go wrong, and then sure enough, something goes wrong. But they thought, hey, this is amazing. Everything's working great.
Yeah, everybody can't be wrong.
Yeah,
right?
nobody. Yeah, we all can't be wrong as a collective.
Yeah, no way. Irving Janis. You asked earlier, is that a boy or a girl? It's Irvina Janis.
Sorry, Irving.
With silent G. Yes, Irvina. 1972 is the first time this word was coined, and it's designed to mean the consensus of a group. It's the idea that when in a group, we'll shut down rationalizing, we'll shut down logic, we'll shut down dissent, because we want to fit into the group. And so the biggest thing that we saw from that was in 1986 with the Challenger disaster, that the group, as a group, somebody knew inside of the group at NASA that there was an issue with the O-ring on the boosters, that when it would freeze, it wouldn't come back together, and that would cause a leak. And that leak is what caused that explosion. And if somebody in the group had said something, that could have been prevented. But because the whole group agreed to it, it led to that disaster, that outcome. And we see that in a lot of places.
Yeah, and sometimes I think that it's maybe like you're not always all in agreement, but there could be like some fear to speak up, or some pressure. Like, well, if you, I don't know, come out of conformity, that you're going to get, walked on or made fun of, or, something like that inside of an organization. This can happen, at your place of business or whatnot.
It could happen in different ways. So we see in 2020, there's two different types of groups that came up. There were political groups, right? If you were part of one group and not of the other, you might have dissent around that other group, but you won't say anything because you're in a particular group. I don't even know if that made sense. I went all over the board on that. Yeah. The idea that socially you might not be accepted, or that you might be seen as the traitor of the group or the outcast because you're the negative Nancy. Well, here's what they're finding is that you need a negative Nancy in the group, or a negative Nick. I'll be a negative Nick.
Nick or Nancy.
The other day we had that experience in our league membership. We were all in agreement about a certain thing, and it was a disagreement. Actually, we didn't agree with something. And then Ryan came in out of the sidelines. Negative Ryan comes in and like, no, this is positive. This is a good thing for us. And here's why. And had he not been willing to say something, he was this one guy against all of us over here in the group. And he said something that shifted our perspective. And we wouldn't have heard it if we weren't open to that. I think sometimes we think the group is right. If we have consensus and everybody raises their hands, then it's got to be right. It's got to be good for everyone. Ryan's over here saying, no, it's not good. You guys aren't seeing it, and was willing to step into that. And that shifted the whole energy of the group.
Yeah. That happens sometimes. Thanks, Hugh.
So stereotyping is another thing, in groups and out groups. In the Robbers Cave experiment back in the 1950s, they pegged two groups of boys against each other, and they created what were called in groups and out groups. And these boys started the camp as friends. When they divided them, they created this discord, and then they started fighting against each other. One group was right, the other was also right. They were both fighting and causing problems. And the only way they could get around it was to create something that was bigger than all of them. They cut off the water supply to all these boys, and then they had to come together again to work on that water problem. There was no way to fix it otherwise. And in doing that, they united again. And so, but that happens. There's a stereotyping, like my group is right. And if you're an outsider, you're the one that says something, then you're going to be stereotyped as that out group person, and might not get the acceptance that maybe you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And then I've experienced that. I've been on that side where, where you feel like you're the only one, you're the only voice. But it's I think it's healthy. I think it's a good thing. I think some of the best innovation and forward momentum can come when you allow somebody in an organization to be that negative Nick or negative Nancy.
I'll be the negative Nick.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a you own a business.
Wreck it Ryan.
Wreck it Ryan and negative Nick. I would highly recommend that you make a designated person. If everybody's in agreement, you're talking and going around the room on a certain thing.
Yeah.
Just be like, hold up. Nick.
You gotta do it exactly like that. That's
the key. Nick. And then designate a person. Hey, look, you're going to be a Wreck-It Ryan. And Ryan, you're going to be a negative Nick today. And then think of all of the things why this won't work.
Yeah.
Ready, go.
Ready. Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
man, what do you do? What do you do in a case where the group they've come to a consensus and you still don't see it? So going into this, right? Mm-hmm. But then they shun you. You're just being a trader. You're going against the grain of the company. You're not a team player because you're not going to conform to what we all think is the right thing. Have you ever been in that position?
Yeah, at a business that I was at formerly that I can't mention.
Formerly known as Prince. the business company formerly known as, and now it's a symbol.
Yes, just a symbol. Yeah. There became a point where there was no good idea. There was no ideas. You just didn't have ideas, because when you brought up ideas or thoughts,
they'd be like, "You're a traitor.
Nope.
You're disastrous. You're going to wreck our company and we have morale, and you're going to wreck that by standing out, Ryan."
Yeah. For some reason, the particular company thought that it was the negative thing that I would bring up. Some differences.
That was very strong of you not to mention names. That was good.
I'm turning over new leaves.
A new leaf. Yeah. So there are times where your view is accurate, but we'll shut that rationale down because we want to conform. We want to fit in. And hey, if something did go wrong, we can just say, hey, it was the group. It wasn't me. I was just following the group. But the reality is you still have a choice in that. And so when you step back from it and be willing to say something that you maybe disagree with or agree with, in depending on the situation, it really opens up the gate for others to do the same thing. And
what's interesting too, and that is that I necessarily I probably wasn't right in some of the scenarios.
Yeah.
I'll admit that, but they might not have been either. And really, truly, I did care about the company. I just wanted them hey, let's think this through a little bit more so that we make sure that, that the right decision is made, or a better decision is made. It doesn't have to be the perfect decision. Sometimes we've talked about this before. Sometimes you just need it to be enough to get through. Satisficing is the term that Nick uses. But you might not ever get to that if it's, everybody's thinking the same thing.
Right. Yeah. It's opening the dialogue, right? It's opening up to the possibility that there's another way to see this. And so I think that's important. So as we wrap up this video, we're going to jump out of here and then leave it open to the comments here. What do you think about groupthink? What have you learned from it? How can you change in your life around groupthink and make an impact even when the group is going another direction? It doesn't mean that you have to disagree with everything. Just means that there are times where it's okay for you to own your voice and speak out if there's something that's amiss, just like Ryan did. That was a beautiful thing.
If you're a Miss or a Nick or a Ryan
or a Urbina,
you can do it or not.
Guys, remember to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow us on the Tribe of Giants and Facebook. And hang in there. We'll see you in the next. Hang in there. That's a terrible way to do it. Make it a giant day. That's better. Make it a giant
just
day.
hang in there, or make it a giant day.
I hope you barely make it through the day. Just barely, though. Hang in there. Make it a giant day. We'll see you in the next video.
Love you, kid.